Anytime you're doing any sort of caramel, hot sugar, boiling nonsense on the stove, you're gonna wanna have all your utensils and ingredients set out because things start to move rather quickly and you kind of run out of time. You don't wanna be chasing after anything. So I have my spatula, my stirring utensil, my thermometer, as well as my pan lined with a silicone baking mat ready for when the toffee is done. Into a stainless steel pan, I have vegan butter, 5/8 a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon maple syrup, and a healthy pinch of kosher salt. You really want your toffee nice and salty. Now we're gonna heat this over medium-high heat until boiling. So stirring constantly, you want your butter to melt. All right, so as it starts to bubble, you wanna keep stirring constantly, but it's starting to bubble and boil. So we're going to turn the heat down to medium and keep stirring and boiling until it turns a dark color or gets to 285 degrees. If your toffee is starting to thicken up like this, I recommend letting it rest for a second before mixing it again, just to let that heat get back in there. Okay, so I let my toffee rest for a minute and we can see it's starting to deepen in color. So just give it a little stir and then you can let it heat up again. Continue to stir as you're trying to heat up the sugar again. So we're basically trying to heat up the sugar. It needs to get to 285 degrees. So it's gonna take a minute, but we can see it's getting darker, which is what we want. Now we just want it to be shiny. Let's continue to mix. We're gonna be at the toffee stage quite soon, but you can see on the outer rim, it's shinier and more consistent in texture than it is on the inside at the moment. All right, at this point we have reached our toffee consistency. We can see it's dark, it's shiny, it's consistent in its texture. So we're going to take it off the heat. And you can also spread it out a little at this point because we want it to be a little thinner while it cools. While we wait for our toffee to cool, we can get started on our olive oil chocolate chip cookies, starting with 1/2 cup of olive oil in both white and brown sugar. With a whisk this until it is pale, light, and fluffy. Now add in some plant milk and of course some vanilla that we're measuring with our heart, and whisk again until well incorporated. Now we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna mix together our dry ingredients. So here I have flour, baking soda, and salt, and just whisk to get all the lumps out of your dry ingredients. Now before we combine the dry and the wet together, I am bringing my toffee in because we want to break this up into bits so that it's ready to get added into the dough. So I'm just going to snap my toffee and it might fly everywhere, so just don't do this somewhere where you don't want toffee flying everywhere. All right, we got all our toffee broken up. Now we're going to add the dry to the wet. With a spatula, we're gonna start folding to combine. About halfway through folding, I'm adding all my toffee bits, as well as some dark chocolate chips, some smaller dark chocolate chips, and finish mixing your dough together. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but yes, we're gonna refrigerate these overnight. We wanna give time for that olive oil to get to know the other ingredients in the cookie dough, as well as give the time for toffee to develop its flavor and fully become perfect little toffee bits. Into the fridge overnight. I'll see you tomorrow morning when we get to bake these beautiful cookies up.